back to my channel. So today, let's talk about 5 signs that you are having a spiritual awakening. Okay, so I know that right now we can hear a lot of spiritual terms online. A lot of people talk about manifestation, law of attraction, and the 5D. All of these terms kind of like are trending, and there's a lot of information out there. And you may associate a spiritual awakening with somebody who like does yoga, who's into crystals or meditates, things like that. And those things are true, but what I want to talk about is what happens internally. How do you know if you are actually undergoing a spiritual awakening? Let's dive into it. So the first sign that you're having a spiritual awakening is that you start shedding the old you and you start letting go of things that don't serve you anymore. You can think of a spiritual awakening as like a rebirth. So you are literally becoming a new person. You're awakening to the fact that you're a soul in a human body, and you just start diving deeper and deeper into yourself. And so as you look into yourself, you see what serves you and what doesn't. So you choose to let go of limiting beliefs. This can be beliefs that you've been holding on to your whole life, like I could never do that, like I'm not worthy of that, or little old me, like basically just limiting yourself. You've been limiting yourself without knowing it. And this happens through society. This happens through just conditioning in the world, your upbringing, friends, like just anything. You've taken on so much. And then when you're having an awakening, you start to let go. You start to let go of beliefs that don't serve you. You start to let go of the familiar. So you've been one way your whole life. When you start to have an awakening, how you know you're having one is you start changing. And the transition can be hard. I've made videos about like my celibacy journey, giving up sex, giving up weed, changing my diet, going plant-based, giving up meat, giving up the foods that I'm used to, giving up relationships, giving up people that don't serve me, don't serve my highest good. You know, an awakening is all about evolution and evolving. So you know you're having a spiritual awakening when you are releasing, you are letting go of your old way of life, your old habits, your old like foods that lower your vibration. You are letting go, you're shedding the old you, and you're making space, creating space for a new you to emerge, which is the true you, more connected to the divine, more connected to your soul, your truest essence. You are discovering who you are and you're defining who you are. You're creating it from an intentional place. You're becoming more conscious of your choices, of your thoughts, of your words. You're speaking your life into existence, and you're no longer limiting yourself. You're not like on autopilot, just living life. You're actually paying attention to your life. You change what's important to you. Okay, because an awakening is like a realization, like a deep realization. And so again, it could be a little bit hard because you're used to your old way of life. And it kind of can feel like a death, to be honest with you. You can feel very alone at times because everything you once believed, everything that once felt familiar to you, people, places, habits, foods, activities, like behavior, the way you talk, the music you listen to, all of it changes. And so this is how you know you're having a spiritual awakening. It no longer resonates. You are raising your vibration, and everything that is not on that same frequency has to go. It falls away out of your life. It's like a disruption. It's a huge disruption, but it's for the better. It's for growth. It's taking you up higher, and then you basically start to choose things that nourish your soul. You have a deeper connection to yourself and God, a spiritual awakening. Okay, let's jump into the second way you can know that you're having a spiritual awakening. You start to choose the light, okay? You are able to see evil more clearly. It's in your face. You are no longer ignorant to it, oblivious to it, like apathetic towards it. No, you can like see clearly, okay? You're opening your third eye and you can see things for what they are. You look at the commercials and you're like, wow, like they're just trying to get me to buy stuff. Like this is gonna feed my consumerism. You know, do I wanna even pay attention to that? You're able to pick up like on just the subtleties because there is polarity on earth, right? So there is like two sides to everything and everything is needed. You know, nothing is by accident, but you just start wanting to live from your heart space and you start to choose love over everything. Love becomes your religion. It's not about following like any particular religion. A spiritual awakening is you choosing love in all things. So recognizing that everything is connected. The animals, the nature, like the earth, the trees, like we take care, you start to take care and care about everything because you realize that everything has a ripple effect. Your behavior affects everything else around you. Your mood, your vibration, your thoughts, your words, your everything, it has a ripple effect. So it doesn't just affect you, it affects everything. You care about the earth because you realize that, wow, what you do has consequences. It affects the air, you know, it affects the food, it affects the water. So your choices matter and you become conscious of this. So you just start to move from love. Things that changed in my life, I became conscious of like, okay, my plastic consumption, like there's plastic everywhere. That creating that much plastic anyways pollutes the air. So it's like if you can use glass or bamboo or something more natural that's gonna be better for yourselves and the earth, you choose that from love. Eating animals, why would I want to? Animals have feelings, souls, like they're connected to us. They have families, like God made them too. They're not for me to eat them. For me to take care of them and to be free to live just like we want to live and be free. So you just start living from your heart. You realize that everybody else around you is just another version of you. So race doesn't matter. Someone's like where they were born, their class, how much money they have, what they look like, their language, like none of these things matter because we are all different versions of one another, all stemming from the same source. So your heart chakra opens and it's a beautiful experience because it's very different from what the world teaches you. The world teaches you to be competitive. The world teaches you to judge people off of how they look or how much money they have or what they can do for you. It's very selfish. There's a lot of just narcissism. And so when you're having a spiritual awakening, you awaken to these things and you decide to live from your heart. You feel compelled to, you want to, and it's beautiful. Okay, so let's move in to the next. What's the next way we know that we're having an awakening? Your sensitivity increases. Okay, so you start picking up on energy, okay, the energy of your own body. You become sensitive. You realize that the foods you eat have a very real effect on you. Okay, it affects your mood, it affects your energy level, it affects like how you feel and you know, like the words that you use, because you realize that everything is energy. So the words you're speaking are creating your life. You become mindful of the words that you speak. You know that they're going to manifest. And basically the birdies, oh my gosh. You guys, birds are so my spirit animal. But anyways, no longer share your energy okay? Your time, your body with people who don't respect you, people who do not deserve to be around you, because you're sensitive to other people. Where before you have an awakening, you might be hardened. You might be like, have a thick skin, or just used to like, oh, that's just the way it is. Like the world's just crazy. People are just, messed up, and oh well. And no. When you have a spiritual awakening, you start to protect your energy, and you become mindful of what you allow to enter your energy field, enter your body, enter your mind, what you consume, what you allow to soak into you, because we are what we consume. So you pay attention to who you're following on social media, who's in your ear, what music you're listening to, your friends and family. It doesn't matter who it is, because your sensitivity is going to tap you into your intuition and your soul, your essence, and you're going to know like what's good for you and what's not. You become aware of these things. Awakening is just like mindfulness on 10, awareness and just like being conscious. You can't really close your eyes and go back to sleep. Like once these things are revealed to you, once you are tapped in, like that's it, and it can be a little bit hard. I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun all the time. Like it's amazing and beautiful, but it's also like you realize like you can see the harshness of the world, like the cruelty. You can see the pain. You pick up on it, and it just, you become awake. You realize like, wow, like this is spiritual warfare, and you make choices from that place. So a sign that you're having a spiritual awakening is your sensitivity increases. And I think it's very beautiful, because like we're in a masculine driven world right now, where it's like the masculine energy is praised and feminine energy can be like looked down upon. But being sensitive is a beautiful superpower, sensitivity. And I love to see like men who have a healthy balance, women who have a healthy balance of both like strong and sensitive. Like we need both. The fourth sign that you're having a spiritual awakening is that you choose to be around like-minded people. Okay, this is also referred to as your soul tribe. Okay, because in the world we're taught that family is just like your blood relatives, when in actuality, family is those that you can choose your family, who you resonate with the most. Because a lot of times, you guys, to be honest with you, your family, your blood family that you're born into, they can be like, there can be a lot of karma there, a lot of generational trauma, curses, and just a lot of lessons to be learned through our bloodline. Okay, and so normally, like, there's only 1 or 2 people who have a spiritual awakening in each family. Okay, and you can think of them as like a light who is like shedding light, showing new ways, maybe healthier ways to do things, more spiritual ways, different ways, so they can be outcasted in their family. They're the black sheep. They're the one that's different or so-called difficult. But really what this is just someone has had a spiritual awakening. And so your soul tribe are other people who are also undergoing an awakening process, who are choosing to level up, who are choosing to let go and choosing to surrender, and in the result of that is a higher vibration and new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. And so you want to be around like-minded people. You're no longer comfortable in the circle you grew up with just because they grew up with you. Like when you're having a spiritual evolution, a spiritual awakening, you're changing, you're being reborn. It's like rebirth. And so you want to be around people who are also wanting to grow, also making choices to level up. And it's just a huge sign that you're having a spiritual awakening. And a lot of times, like, you'll fall off the map. They'll be like, where'd you go? The people that are used to being around you, like, oh my gosh, you've changed so much, because you have. And so that's a huge sign of an awakening. It's just you having a deep desire. You want to be around people that you resonate with, who understand your choices and who are also on a similar journey, because you can relate to them now. You no longer relate to your old lifestyle. You have a whole new outlook. So it's only natural that you want to gravitate toward, and you will attract people who are on a similar vibration to you. It's a huge sign of an awakening. You're choosing to be around like-minded individuals. And now that I think about it, this is people who are not having a spiritual awakening, same thing. I mean, they want to be around like-minded. If somebody is like challenging you and you're not ready to grow, you're not going to want to be around them, because you're going to feel threatened. Like when I stopped smoking weed, I lost a lot of family and friends. Why? Because they're like, oh, you think you're better than us now? Like, oh, you think you're so holy? Like, oh, you think you're too good for us? Like, that was their mindset, instead of like compassion, or like being like, wow, I'm proud of you, sis. Like, dang, you're leveling up. Like, that's dope. Like, I'm happy for you. Like, and so it's not about judging or condemning or feeling like you're superior to anybody else. It's just about like attracting like. And so you will attract those who are meant to be in your experience, and you will also lose people who no longer resonate. And I'm so happy if you guys are here watching this video, because I do not believe in coincidences. And so you are meant to, and I hope that something from this touches you and you can relate, because there's so many people undergoing an awakening right now. Like, it was destined to happen. The whole earth is going through a transformation right now, and people are starting to, with the internet, you really can't stop it. And so the last way that you will know that you are going through a spiritual awakening is that you become a whole new person. Like, literally. Like I was telling you guys, like, I used to be the party girl. Like, I used to be all about like getting drunk and smoking weed, and like I was not for commitment. I had my little side men that I was like dealing with, and just like lost in the world, the music I was listening to, like the environment, who I was hanging around. I was in the wrong places with the wrong crowd, and I was lost, and you guys know that saying, like, I was lost and now I'm found, because it's true. When you are just ready, when your soul is ready for something new, it will come, it will appear. When you have like an honest curiosity and you speak to God, you're humble in that way, and your heart just purely is pure, and you ask of God for reveal yourself to me, or help me, or I want something new. When you get broken down so much, the only way is up from there, right? So a lot of people have something traumatic happen to them. It doesn't have to come to that, but everybody is on their own journey. Life can break you down from your own choices and your own things. You're doing the best you can with what you know at the time, right? But a spiritual awakening is you going into that cocoon to become the butterfly. So you are stripped of all your old beliefs. You let go, you're alone. It's just you and God. You start tapping into yourself. You start realizing things, and you start working on yourself, doing healing, inner work on yourself, and just trusting. And then the miracles start pouring in. God starts saying, look, here, this, you learn that, and you change, and you become unrecognizable to people who knew you before. I went home to visit, you'll probably also be taken away. How in the Bible, Jesus is in your hometown, they won't respect you because they're going to be oh, I know the real you or the old you, and it's true. A lot of times, when you're undergoing a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, you're taken away from everything that you once knew. So I ended up moving away from California, which is where I spent my whole life, by myself. Just me and my daughter moved to a new place, and we were alone. So there was no more distractions. There was no more excuses. God made it that way on purpose so that I could work on myself and have experienced my awakening and learn like who I really am. And it's been beautiful. So like when I went back home to visit last year, I think, my stepdad told me, he was like, who are you, Sash? Because like they were going to Carl's Jr. and he's like, what do you want from Carl's Jr.? You know, and I'm like, do they have anything that's like plant-based burger? He's like, what? Or like, you know, the family comes over late to get their drink on. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, who are you? Like, you think you're better? Like, all this stuff, you change, you morph, you know? Sneaky links try to hit you up. It's like, I'm not interested. They're like, oh, what's wrong with you? You change. You're not reaching for the weed. You're not reaching for your old lifestyle. It's just no longer, you don't want it anymore. It doesn't do it for you anymore. You're not interested anymore. Like, you let go, you know, you want higher vibrations. You want what's best for you. You want what's going to nourish you, make you really feel good, really satisfy you, really fulfill you. Only God can do that, you know, only you being real with yourself. That's where the real pleasure and satisfaction comes from, and it's sustainable. It's not a fleeting thing, you know, where it's like fake love, fake food, you know, fake fun. If you wake up and the fun's over, were you really having fun? Type of thing, you know, like, so these are my signs of that you are having a spiritual awakening, you guys. So drop me a comment. Let me know, what do you think about this video? Do you feel that you're having a spiritual awakening? How do you know? What was the first sign for you? I'm sending you so much love and power and healing on your journey. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.